embedded in this culture, in this protocol, in this ecosystem, this little community of people that are putting 1000% of their effort into thinking about what does an alternate future of the internet look like.
That's Devin Gaffney, founder and CEO of Graze.
So I'm Devin Gaffney. I live here in Portland. I grew up here, moved back for reals, for good, about 4 years ago. I'm building a company called Graze. Basically, the promise of Graze is if you've ever been on the internet and you've used social media, you've experienced it all through an algorithm. Graze is a company that has a vision of allowing anybody to build their own algorithm. What does that actually mean? So on social media, when you log in, everything you consume on Facebook or X or wherever is mediated entirely by an algorithm that decides what you see and when. The logic for that is opaque, driven by a single company that has desires that might be counter to yours, and you don't get much agency in this system. There's not really a way out of that experience today on social media, except for this one weird place, Bluesky. And so on Bluesky, the idea is that there's this open protocol where you can design your own algorithm if you don't like the algorithm that they provide to you by default. There's still a lot of work in designing one of these algorithms, so that's where we fill the gap. We give people the ability to build one of these algorithms in a sort of like Photoshop for algorithms way, where you can decide what you consume and why and when. And if you come up with a compelling idea for how to make a better algorithm that other people might enjoy as well, we want to give you the ability to make that a business unto itself.
I mean, apart from just making the internet a better place, like what inspired you to pursue a business that helps make the internet a better place?
I've done a lot of academic work. I've done a lot of startup ideas that didn't go very far. And what I've learned in my career so far is that, your ideas are most successful if you can package them to be congruent with the logic that the world operates in, the way that systems actually sort of grow within the system we live in, right? Without getting political about it. But I think it's important that you have to, you can't just sort of go headstrong into saying, I'm not going to participate in this system because it follows a logic that I don't agree with. I think it is important to think about how to build systems that can use the affordances and flexibilities within that logic of capitalism to be able to design systems that move us to progressively better places.
Interesting. So if I'm to play this back to you, I'm hearing your inspiration was not only making the internet a better place, but empowering others to do what they can to make the internet a better place for them and their peers.
Yeah, I think one of the big lessons of the internet is that there are a lot of weird people out there that are really into the thing they're into, and leaning into that rather than coming in with my own strong priors about what I think is a better algorithm is probably the more robust solution to this problem. You could look at an example like Wikipedia, arguably, is a blueprint for what we're doing, right? This set of highly skilled editors losing out to just the sea of cognitive surplus available through the internet to put the world's information together in some logical system, right? It's a very similar sort of story. So what we do is we build all of the picks and shovels, as it were, for people to figure out what is a better way of organizing the world's content in a stream within this social ecosystem, and then, giving them the incentives and structures to do that as a day job if they want, or make it a huge business if they want.
And you're able to do that because there's this underlying protocol that sits below Bluesky, right? Like, can you explain how all of that magic kind of works together?
Sure. So when you go to, we'll talk about Twitter because that's the sort of, most similar platform. When you go to Twitter, everything that you do on Twitter is restricted to the four walls of Twitter's, corporate systems, right? Their cloud servers. Everything that you do is sort of end to end, completely controlled by them. Bluesky is a little different. And in fact, it's kind of interesting. Bluesky itself started as an internal project at Twitter, which was the goal of designing Bluesky from the get-go was, what if we built Twitter again, but the way that it should have been built now that we know what we know now, right? The idea is to create lots of layers of really deep federation, very nerdy word, but basically the idea that these machines that put together and compose this social platform don't actually have to be owned by the same company. That introduces a lot of like complicated things of how do you make this actually interoperate. So you have to build what is called a protocol, some sort of agreed contract of how all of these machines are going to do all of this work together really quickly, really efficiently, without having a lot of people have to get in the way to figure out those negotiations. Protocols are essentially computer-to-computer negotiations. And so the protocol is a lot of the sort of like the meat of the work that's happening within Bluesky PBC, big PBC as I call it. And so what they're working on is like sort of fleshing out all of the details about how that works. They also run this website, which actually just started as like a proof of concept for this is how you could use the protocol to build a social platform. It wasn't really intended to become its own platform unto itself, as much as it was sort of like a demo of the idea. But the idea is, essentially that where something like Twitter or something like Facebook is basically a set of idiosyncratic microservices and tools that they just build internally that they never intend to be used by anybody on the planet for any reason. The fundamental architecture of Bluesky is that anybody can patch into the network, anybody can create their own modifications to the network and extend the network's capabilities. It's much more like, anybody can run their own HTTP server rather than anybody building a platform.
Got it. The same way I can use any browser to access the web that I want to, kind of thing.
Yeah, you could make a pretty straight line analogy that Bluesky is the browser that sits on top of this protocol, right? In the same way that like Navigator is a system for consuming HTML documents via HTTP, Bluesky, the platform, is a browser for the AT protocol documents that live within this patchwork of machines.
Cool. Thank you. That's super helpful and helps like explain that a little bit better, at least in my brain.
You're going to ask 100 people and they're going to give you like a bunch of different versions. And I'm sure the one I just gave you is terrible. So,
Well, I've heard email too as another one. Like email comes and goes on the internet, and you can use a variety of platforms to access that email because it's running on an agreed upon protocol. So like, I kind of get my head around it, but like that additional description is super helpful. So thank you. Shifting gears a little bit, you've been part of startups, you've tried other startups of your own, you're working on this startup, anyway, lots of experience in the startup world. And I often find founders are the best mentors and have the best advice for other founders. What's one piece of advice you would give to somebody who's either starting something right now or thinking about starting something?
It's all going to be pretty basic stuff. It's going to sound really dumb because it's the honest answer is the stuff that you probably hear all the time is like, figure out how to ship something now, right? Build something now, start getting feedback now, right? Obviously with our brave new vibe coding world, it's never been easier to, build prototypes of tools, right? The only thing that is differentiating ultimately is like your ideas and the clever, new pattern that you've figured out about how to, make the world work, right? And so, your code is not particularly much of a mode. There's things that you're, right? Like the thing that you need to do is sort of like get your idea, your pitch, your thought about how the world could be slightly different out there as quickly as possible and try to find your people as quickly as possible. It's very painful to spend a bunch of time working on something that then turns out like the fundamental assumptions were wrong. So just build a fucking thing and try it. It's Monday. It's my advice.
Love it. As a founder, like day to day, this could be like something that you rely on as a human. It could be something you rely on in a professional facet. But what's one resource that you find that it's critical to your existence in the world as a startup founder?
Gonna have to say Rick.
DMs, Slack DMs.
Yeah, Rick DMs. No, seriously though, the small network of people that I've met over my 20 years in tech that I feel like I can go to ask like questions where I don't think that there's an answer, or if I am lost on it, right, I can spend 20 minutes talking to Claude in circles, getting nowhere because it's not actually a knowable thing, right? Being able to sort of tap the network of people that I've met over my career is the thing I go to every day and is the most valuable thing. I wouldn't say there's like a I wouldn't say hacker news or something. There's no specific internet website where I'm like, that's where I need to go to answer the unknowable questions of the universe, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great answer. Well, it is hard being a founder, and like you need other people who have been there and done that, and I'm always happy to be in your corner or just a DM away to kind of help with that kind of stuff. And in that vein, how can people be helping you or Graze right now? What would be most helpful?
Oh God, they call them skeets on Bluesky.
I'm not going to use that word ever.
I mean, I'm gonna say the most helpful thing is reskeet everything that we post, right? If you are so inclined to join me on this journey of reorienting the entire attention economy to be more human-centered, I would encourage you to come hang out on Bluesky and see if it works for you. See if you can find your people better than you could find your people on X, the everything app. I think the thing that is most helpful to me right now, the way that you can help us at Graze is, you don't have to, we are in this really weird moment with the current arrangement of our attention economy, the current state of our political system, the spiraling way, the intersection of spirals that we are in right now in this country, right? That it has been for me a very refreshing experience to be embedded in this culture, in this protocol, in this ecosystem, this little community of people that are putting 1000% of their effort into thinking about what does an alternate future of the internet look like. I would encourage you to come experience that with me, or at the very least, think about what does that future, what sort of future could you build? What sort of like things are frustrating you about how you consume information, how you interact with people? Are there other ways of doing these things? It feels like there's a real opening right now to take out these incumbents that have not served us particularly well, I don't know, the last 75% of the time we've been using. So yeah, that's great. Yeah, and I will say from a end user perspective, it's like I kind of always think about concepts that are the opposite of doom scrolling. Like if you're stuck in an information feed where you're like, I really wish this were X, Y, or Z, Graze is really helpful in getting you to that point. And like even somebody with as limited technology experience as me can build algorithms to feed the Bluesky content that I and others want to see. So I encourage people to jump on over to Graze and test it out, or even just subscribe to some of the feeds and see how that changes your perspective on the content out there. Do you have a startup story to tell? I would love to hear from you.